It actually felt really like transactional. The crazy thing is I wasn't getting anything out of this transaction at all. Oh, actually, no, I did get something. I got an STI. Hi, I'm Ash. I am 27 and I'm Auckland's self-proclaimed bad bitch.
Time to cut them off, I need. I know how to make the crowd go crazy. When you treat her like you're number one.
I don't really count the first time that I had sex as like the first time I started having sex. Just because for me it didn't feel, now when I think about it, I'm like, that wasn't it. I had this massive fear around sex and intimacy, and like, it's like everything in the relationship could have been perfect, but as soon as it came to penetration, my whole body would just like go into shutdown. When I was younger, sex was kind of brought to me in a way that it was like painful and like just something that was gonna ruin my life. My upbringing was very religious. It's just not a thing to talk about at all, like in South Africa or like with your parents. Trigger warning, sexual assault. You know, like I experienced that as a child as well. So I think in the mixture of that and also how I grew up as a teenager, like my knowledge of it, I was like, oh, okay, 2 and 2 together, like this, it must be not good. I have no idea what changed, but as soon as I got out of the second relationship, I actually felt this sense of freedom and autonomy over my own decisions and my own bodies to go and get it myself if I wanted it. I had a one-night stand and it was really sore. It was so painful. I was so dry. The sex was bad. It was bad. But at the time, I wasn't really thinking about that. I was like, my whole mindset was on the fact that I was like doing this thing that my whole life I thought that I couldn't do. And then once I started, it couldn't keep me down. I couldn't stop. I was actually gonna wear this one today. Queen of Blowjob. I mean, I ain't gotta say much. This one, be a slut, do whatever you want. So true. When I think back now, I definitely don't think I enjoyed majority of the sex that I was having during that whole phase. At the time, I was like, yeehaw, I'm having the time of my life because I was like feeling free and frisky. But yeah, now when I think about it, I'm like, none of that was for me at all. Every single encounter, I would say I was probably internally being like, I don't like this, or I wish you would stop doing that. I didn't know what communication was really like then. Like I didn't know I could be like, no, I don't want to do that, because I'd never really tried it and I'd never been brought up like that. And there was no communication on their end either.
Hello. Hi, darling. How are you?
The amount of bad sex that we both had.
And we were kind of like shrugging it off as good sex.
I know.
We were like, oh yeah, this part was great, but then really
It's like you make
back,
it's like you make excuses and you're like,
Yeah.
oh, but they did do this, and
Yeah.
then this part was like kind of good, but majority of the time it's just all round bad.
yeah, and sex just becomes sex, but like
Yeah.
good sex is like,
It's
holy
good
crap,
sex.
that can make your day.
I know! You were walking around different. I had my first queer experience during that whole year. I guess the main difference was like in that moment, it was a lot gentler. We did actually just like talk for like 2 hours and we just like chatted, and it was really, really nice and like flirty. And then the natural progression just happened and we had sex, and I was like, my last hookup was maybe a month and a half ago. I did message this person straight off the bat and I said, your moustache is cute. And then I said it would look even cuter between my legs. From there it just like unfolded. It was pretty much just like, awesome, when? It was actually really fun. It was probably the best one night stand I've ever had, ever. He asked like if I wanted to do something. So for example, he'd be like, do you want to suck this dick? And I'd be like, yes, I do. I do want to suck this dick. Some people think for some reason they're asking for consent along the way is like unsexy, but it's so hot. Like, can I fuck you? Yes. Yes, you can. Honestly, I think I'm still learning the whole communication thing during sex. Sometimes I feel like I've got a handle on it and I'm like, I'm great at this. I can go into a situation and say exactly what I want. And then there are other times I'm like, why didn't I say anything? When I'm communicating during sex or when I'm setting certain boundaries, I'll usually just kind of say what I don't like and what I do like. It has never gone badly, ever. So it is a mind thing. It's an internal mind thing where there's like a lot of fear. I've learned to be like really compassionate with myself when I don't communicate certain things. Yeah, there's this societal pressure of like being kind of like submissive or being there to like please the man or like, but no, fuck that. You're there to get your needs met too.
I think once you realise that communication is the key to good sex, you want to do nothing more but to communicate, right? If I could tell my younger self about sex, I would say that you have the power to dictate what type of sex you have very easily by saying something. Like if he's not doing a good job down there,
say something.
Say something.
Say something. Sex is really fun for me at the moment. I feel I'm very selective with who I let inside me or around me or in my aura. I'm just really, really excited to have my relationship with my best friend as a blueprint to any sort of dating and intimacy that I go into. I just want to meet someone who makes me as happy as Grace Coe.